So after all this, it turns out to be an extremely rare genetic condition. In 2007, a woman from Switzerland attempted to enter the United States. Now, when you're a non-US citizen and you attempt to enter America, they always scan your fingerprints. But with her, there was a problem, because she had no fingerprints. She was born without fingerprints. Not only did this delay her entrance to the United States, the news of it went global, and the medical community was baffled. Nobody had ever heard of this before, and it sparked an increasingly almost frantic effort to find out what was going on. So they did some genetic testing on her. It turns out 8 other members of her family also were born without fingerprints. It was a medical mystery, and nobody could understand why. As well as no fingerprints, they also had no marks on their toes. And they could not sweat. They could never sweat, no matter how hot they were. With it never observed before by the medical community, it was a real open mystery. So after several years of investigation by the medical community, it was found they lack a certain protein which affects the skin. Specifically, it affects the skin in utero. So it's a mutation that kicks in when a woman is pregnant. But again, it's extremely rare, so it simply had not been documented before. Even today, just 5 families across the world are known to have it. In the entirety of humanity, just 5 families. For obvious reasons, it came to be known as the delayed immigration disease, but its official name is dermatopathia, or DPR. While it is a significant mutation, it's largely harmless. The only actual danger involved is that you can't sweat. So you could be in the middle of a desert and still not be able to sweat. And there's a reason why we sweat. It's important for our biological functions. So there are certain situations where it could be deadly if you cannot sweat ever. But that's a pretty minor inconvenience considering most people don't live in the desert. And most people are never going to be in that situation. So there are no documented deaths as a result of this mutation. More than anything, it's just kind of interesting. Now, the reason they don't sweat is they literally have no sweat glands. They were born without them. In utero, when the mutation kicks in, their sweat glands simply don't develop. Nor do their fingerprints or anything like that. It just doesn't happen. I mean, it's barely a genetic disorder. It's barely a disease. If anything, it just makes you a better criminal. Which I think we could all use. One of the interesting things is that the families who have it are quite disparate. Some of them are in Europe, some in North America, some in Asia, some in Africa. So it seems to be just a random mutation that can happen to any human. It's not clustered specifically. It can't be blamed on inbreeding or anything. It's just chance. And if your parent has it, there's a 50% chance that you will have it. So it's unlikely this disease or mutation will ever be part of our evolution, since so few people have it and only half of their children get it. But it's interesting. It makes me wonder what other kinds of mutations might be out there, waiting to be found. It seems like every year they find a new one, somebody who is abnormally tall or short, or their bones are abnormally strong. This is just one of many. Even now, very little is known about the disorder. So if you get it, there's not much you can do. You just have to live with it. So this has just been a very short video, because I found the topic interesting. And because there's so little information, I can't really space out the video for long. But if you want more videos like this on people with interesting mutations, be sure to subscribe. I think I will do a couple more at least. And if it goes well, I'll do a lot more.